ABC7 Eyewitness News at 6:30 starts now.
Updating breaking news, the pastor of a local church in disbelief as a fire destroys the building.
An investigation now underway after police shoot a man in the western suburbs.
Dangerous cold just a few days away. Wind chills will be well below zero. But first, some of you are going to see a little bit more snow.
Meteorologist Haisel Martinez joining us now with the ABC7 AccuWeather forecast and the alert we've got on red today. And it's a lot of red in your forecast coming up, Haisel.
Yeah, an AccuWeather alert here. And that's because we're seeing a little bit of snow push in this evening. And then, yes, we are talking dangerously cold wind chills on Friday morning. Take a look. Right now, we are seeing just a few flurries. This is that first little push here. But up in Wisconsin and right at the Illinois line, we could get a quick inch from what is passing through right now. We have the next thing coming up, and it is now starting to move in to our most western suburbs, where we're starting to see some of that light to moderate snowfall develop. DeKalb at 26, St. Charles at 29, Midway at 28. So as this falls, it's mainly going to stick. Some bursts of snow here through the next few hours. Most of us just get a dusting, but again, right at the Wisconsin Illinois line, maybe 1, perhaps 2 inches of snow up in Wisconsin. Continuing the clock here to show you that by 10 p.m. this is pretty much out of here. We also have for our southern counties, you see in this light tan color, there is a wind advisory in effect until midnight tonight. Then that Arctic blast comes in Thursday night into Friday. Those AccuWeather alerts here. We will talk more about all of this coming up here in just a little bit. Rob?
Thanks, Haisel. See you in a few minutes. Metro announcing today they are reducing their schedule on Friday in anticipation of that extreme cold, and this will impact all lines. Metro says the level of service will be similar to what you see on Saturdays and Sundays. You go to metro.com to see all these changes. The South Shore line will also operate on a weekend or holiday train schedule on Friday.
Well, Cook County is opening its warming center starting tomorrow as temperatures continue to dip. Facilities will expand to include 3 suburban courthouses in Skokie, Maywood, and in Markham. All of the locations will offer water, snacks, and restroom access for anyone needing to get out of the cold. And we have posted a full list of the locations nearest to you on our website. Also, Joliet Junior College and some schools in Gary will offer remote learning on Friday because of the cold. You can also find other delays or closures as they come into our newsroom on our website at abc7chicago.com with the ABC7 app as well.
A Fox Valley Major Crimes Task Force investigating a police-involved shooting, and this happened at a building in the 300 block of South Broadway in Aurora. Police say they responded to a call of a man barricaded with a weapon. They say they fired when he showed a knife. Officers treated the man until paramedics arrived, and the officers were taken to the hospital to be checked out. And right now, police are looking for the thieves who tried to rob an armored truck in a bank parking lot. It happened this morning at 120th and Western in Blue Island. You can see the shattered glass of the front door at the U.S. Bank. As several gun casing markers were scattered across the street and parking lot. Blue Island city officials confirmed no bank employees were hurt.
We are also updating breaking news that we first told you about at 4 o'clock today. A fire consuming a church in Fort Heights this afternoon. 2 church members were inside when the fire started. Both did get out of the building safely. The fire devastated the building on South Drexel, home to the True Light Temple of Praise congregation. It is not yet clear what started this fire. President Trump saying tonight he has reached a potential deal on Greenland. He spoke earlier today to world leaders in Switzerland. ABC's Karen Travers has an update tonight from the White House.
President Trump posting on social media that after meeting with NATO's Secretary General, he has a, quote, framework of a future deal on Greenland. He provided no details of what a deal would include, but said Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio would lead negotiations on the U.S. Golden Dome missile defense system and Greenland. The president also saying he's backing off his threat of new tariffs on 8 NATO allies. But earlier, the president dug in.
This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America. on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory.
But the president at the World Economic Forum in Davos stepping back from his previous rhetoric that suggested he could use the military to make that happen.
People thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
The president was asked later why he took the military option off the table.
I don't think it'll be necessary. I really don't. Okay. I think people are going to use better judgment. They'll use their best judgment, and I don't think that will not be necessary.
And his message and warning to Denmark and NATO.
They have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or you can say no, and we will remember.
The president maintains it's the U.S. alone that can protect Greenland, but European leaders are pushing back strongly.
The future of Greenland is only for the Greenlanders to decide.
President Trump says he'll meet on the sidelines of Davos tomorrow with Ukraine's President Zelensky. He said today they're reasonably close to reaching a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, but the president has expressed similar optimism before, and no deal has been reached. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Karen, thank you for that report. The Supreme Court is expected to rule by the end of June on President Trump's effort to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. He says that Cook committed mortgage fraud, and she denies the allegations. No president has ever fired a sitting governor of the Federal Reserve. Justices heard arguments today. Justice Brett Kavanaugh said if Cook's firing goes through, it would, quote, weaken, if not shatter, the independence of the Federal Reserve.
The trial for a man accused of putting a bounty on the life of Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino is wrapping up. Jury deliberations expected tomorrow. ABC7's Michelle Gallardo reports on today's testimony from the Dirksen Federal Building.
All that remains now are closing arguments and jury deliberations, both of which will begin tomorrow morning. The case proceeding very quickly today as prosecutors only called 3 witnesses to the stand, among them the man on the receiving end of the Snapchat message that led to this entire prosecution. Testifying on the stand today, Adrian Jimenez, a man the judge has allowed the public to name but not show, admitted to being a long-time government informant, one who in early October forwarded a photograph of this Snapchat message written in English and Spanish to a Homeland Security investigator he knew. $2K on information when you get him, $10K if you take him down, LK on him. The message, interpreted as a gang-ordered hit placed on Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino because of the picture that accompanied it, is what led to the arrest of the sender, Juan Espinosa Martinez. But when cross-examined today, Jimenez said he did not know why the message was sent to him. "You're not someone who commits murder for hire, right?" asked defense attorney Dina Singer. "No," responded Jimenez.
This case turns almost entirely on the question of intent. Did this defendant intend to solicit murder?
And that is the problem for prosecutors who today struggle to make that case. Playing a portion of Espinosa Martinez's interrogation for the jury today, all the court heard was Espinosa denying that he meant anything by sending that message, saying he was simply repeating neighborhood gossip. "I wasn't telling him to do it, I was just writing some information, like this is what is going on." This is the first non-immigration related case to make trial that is directly connected to Operation Midway Blitz, and while initially prosecutors claimed the union carpenter was a high-ranking member of the Latin Kings, they later backed away from that, ultimately leading Judge Joan Lefkoe to bar any line of questioning that related to Espinosa's alleged gang membership or affinity.
It's an aggressive case for sure, and I think the government's taking a greater risk with this case than it often does. There's not a lot of corroboration, there's no follow-up, there's not a lot of witness testimony.
Espinosa Martinez was expected to take the stand in his own defense, but ultimately his attorneys called a single witness before resting, and that was his younger brother. At the Dirksen Federal Building, I'm Michelle Gallardo, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Michelle, thank you. We're hearing from a Chicago sub shop owner who was deported to Pakistan after living in the U.S. for decades. Asif Amin Shima was sent there earlier this month. The Department of Homeland Security says he entered the U.S. illegally in 1989. He and his family say they were going through the process to get him a green card.
I feel very different. I am United States like 37 years.
We took the long route because that was the right route. And the reason why I felt guilty was because the ICE officer told me over the phone, your dad, quote, came back onto our radar when you sponsored him. So it felt like we were being punished for doing things the right way.
Shima's daughter says the family is fighting to bring him back. Well, protecting your money and your information, we have tips to help you avoid the most common tax scams.
But first, jurors are deliberating the fate of a former police officer accused of failing to protect children during the school shooting in Uvalde. And
later, the local restaurant's being honored by the James Beard Foundation.
The jury is now deliberating in the trial of former Uvalde school police officer Adrian Gonzalez has been charged with child endangerment in the botched response in the deadly school shooting. Both the prosecution and defense presented their closing arguments today. The judge is allowing jurors to deliberate until 10 o'clock tonight. 19 students and 2 teachers were killed in that school shooting.
The IRS is making some big changes as it heads into its busiest season. The senior leadership structure is being reorganized, and the new team will see 16 executives report directly to the IRS chief executive. The chief also says the agency must lean more aggressively into technology, which could lead to a reduction in staffing. Well, Monday is the first day you can file your taxes, and experts are warning to watch out for scammers. The IRS estimates taxpayers lost more than $5.5 billion to scams and fraud in 2023. And the Better Business Bureau says it expects scammers to be even more aggressive this year. So joining us now is Steve Ernest, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau, with some tips on how to protect your money and your information. Steve, it is great to see you again.
Thanks so much for having me on today, Rob.
Are you actually expecting more aggressive scammers this year?
Yes, Rob, we're seeing that already at the Better Business Bureau, and the FTC just issued a warning as well. We're seeing an increase of these types of calls, claiming allegedly that they're from the IRS when they're not. So they're being an imposter, what we call these imposter scams. And it kind of put the fear in you that you got to do something quickly in order to avoid jail or being deported or losing your driver's license. Anything that they want to scare you on to get information from you, not only to steal your money, but also your identity as well, Rob.
What are some of the top tax-related scams, Steve?
Well, basically, once they do, they reach out to you in an email or a text and saying that you owe money, and that's what we call the tip-off to rip-off. The IRS is not going to call you out of the blue and saying you owe money, and here, click on this link and send us money, you'll be taken care of. Anytime anybody asks you for personal information, again, the IRS doesn't reach out to you asking for tax information or your social security number. They have all this information. So I think consumers need to take a step back. If somebody wants you to do something in 30 minutes, and that's usually the tip-off to the rip-off. The only thing you should do in 30 minutes is buy a pizza. Everything else, do the research on them, especially if they're saying they're calling from the IRS or another governmental agency.
We're looking at a list right now on tips from the Better Business Bureau on identifying tax theft, email phishing scams, impersonation scams, ghost tax preparers. Jason Knowles and the I-Team have done a lot of reports. I know you've worked with them on this as well. And he had mentioned try to file your taxes as soon as possible. Is that to just avoid these scammers coming after you?
Exactly. So the scammers can actually file taxes on your behalf ahead of you and get the money. So that happens during data breaches or things or any type of fraud or phishing emails. They can't get enough information to file taxes. So we suggest you contact the or file your taxes as soon as possible. And if you've been a victim of identity theft, the IRS offers what's called an IP PIN, which enables you to put another level of security where you make sure it's you before your taxes are filed. So if you've been a victim of identity theft in the past, you may want to look at IRS website for an IP PIN to help you on that side. But again, file early because somebody else may file your taxes, and unfortunately, you don't realize it until you file yours, and then the IRS says, "Well, you can't file because somebody else already did."
Yeah, and then they get the return that you were expecting. That might help you out. What are some other ways that people can protect themselves?
Well, obviously, trying to keep your identity as secret as possible. So don't share that information with anybody else. And especially if the caller ID says IRS, it doesn't mean it's the IRS. So there's also that they could spoof that number. So a lot of consumers get scared. They put that fear into you. Is keep your information confidential. And if you feel it's a call from the IRS or some other bank or whatever, contact them directly. Hang up the phone. Don't answer the phone unless it's on your caller list. So many times we see people lose money by giving out this information freely to people and then clicking on those links. If you click on a link, they could put spam or malware on your computer and lock your computer up and hold it ransom until you pay the fee to get your computer back. In a police station about 10 years ago in the south suburbs had to pay that ransomware, and we have a business recently I talked to lost $1 million they had to pay to get their files back. So if you're not expecting a call or a email text, do not click on it. Check out that offer. File a complaint with the BBB. Look at our scam tracker. We have a scam tracker that keeps track of all these scams. The phone numbers, website. So the more information consumers give us, the better we're prepared to answer these questions and protect the public at large.
Sometimes, Steve, I worry about our elderly loved ones too, because these scammers will go after them. They can be a little more vulnerable. They live alone, or they don't know what to do, and then they just react because they try to move quick. Those scammers really try to get you fast.
They do. They try to get you as fast as possible and put the fear in. They don't want you to call anybody. They don't want you to call a family member. And that's why that 30-minute rule applies, because they want you to act quickly. And when they leave a voicemail message now, they said, "This is our last attempt to contact you. Next one will be the police," or something like that, that you quickly pick up the phone and call them back. So again, the IRS is not going to call you demanding payment, sending gift cards, transferring money around. That's the tip-off to the rip-off, Rob.
Yeah, just relax, breathe. Don't do that 30-minute thing. They're going to get your money eventually, or vice versa. No reason to rush it, Steve. It's always great to see you on this program. Terrific tips, and we appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you so much, Rob, for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Excellent advice. I learned
good
so
stuff.
much. All right. We love seeing and hearing from him as well. Well, still to come, parents fighting to keep Catholic schools open in the suburbs.
Let's take a live look outside. Gusty winds and a burst of light snow in parts of our area tonight. Your AccuWeather alert forecast has got some cold coming too. It's next.
A photo shows the drugs and guns that Chicago police say they did find at the home of a convicted felon. They were investigating narcotics trafficking in Chicago and the nearby suburbs. Police say the drugs have an estimated street value of $4.3 million. 36-year-old Travis Taylor has been charged with multiple counts of drug and weapons charges. Well, parents are trying to keep the doors of a 65-year-old suburban Catholic school open. They gathered today to discuss the future of St. Hubert in Hoffman Estates. ABC7's John Garcia reports on their call for help and support.
St. Hubert's Catholic School here in Hoffman Estates has been around for 65 years, but with declining enrollment and budget deficits, many associated with the school say they're concerned its days are numbered, and they want to do whatever they can to keep it around. They are committed to keeping this school open. Parents, alumni, and supporters of St. Hubert Catholic School say they've been doing all they can to try to save the school. Now they want help from the Archdiocese to come up with a plan. A year ago, enrollment was over 200 students, but parents say the school stopped offering tuition discounts to needy families, forcing about a third of them to leave. Leah De Los Santos has 2 daughters here.
My family has been at the school for 11 years, since my children started in pre-K. This is another home for us.
And it is the only home close to home for many families who want to send their kids to a Catholic school nearby. Julie Chirinos has had 4 kids at the school.
We've been at this parish since I was baptized in the 70s. It is the best option.
The parents say they've been told the school has operated at a deficit of several $million in the past few years, but they say they nearly met their $300,000 fundraising goal. They say they want to develop a plan with the help of administrators. A spokesperson for the Archdiocese says in a statement, in part, over the past 2 years, we have met 7 times with groups including the pastor, school principal, finance council, school board, and school and parish families in an effort to stabilize enrollment and school financials. Parent organizer Jillian Barnes Garcia is praying for answers.
It's a valuable place. It's in a really good community. We have a great parish, and there's a lot of vibrant families that are here.
Parents say they've had very little communication with the Archdiocese and been given no formal deadline for closing the school, but they say this is a familiar narrative with other Catholic schools that have closed, and they want to keep it from happening here. In Hoffman Estates, John Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, John, thank you for that report. As we take a live look outside, a little bit of snow fell today. You could see it over on Lake Michigan there. The city is all lit up. It looks beautiful, of course.
And 28, I mean, it's
balmy,
that's
right?
going to be balmy come the weekend. I mean, really dangerous cold coming for us this Friday. And you wonder if they'll cancel some schools sometimes when it gets well below
Some
zero.
have already done that.
Yeah,
for sure.
right. So you'll want to keep an eye on that in our morning team as we get closer to that high. So, but tonight we got to worry about 2.
Yeah, we have some scattered bursts of snow that could drop visibility. We're talking some gusty winds as well, especially for some of our southern counties where we currently have a wind advisory in effect until midnight tonight. So these scattered bursts do continue through about 10 p.m. So for the day tomorrow, I keep getting these questions of like when and how cold. So tomorrow, we're close to 20 degrees for our high temperatures. It stays in the 20s till about 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And then that Arctic blast quickly gets here. And by Thursday, 8 p.m., it is going to be very cold. And then Friday morning, we could potentially have some areas that have wind chill values 40 below zero. So that's dangerously cold. Saturday, below zero wind chills once again, and perhaps the chance to have some snow developing here on Saturday evening. So right now, looking at a big picture to show you that we do have some snow moving into the area. A few light snow showers have already moved in, and we're seeing that here in downtown Chicago. But out to our western suburbs, what you see here, these are these bursts of snow, more squall-like is what we're seeing right now. So it'll drop visibility quickly, and you'll get a quick ½ inch of snow, and then it moves on. That is what we're dealing with this evening, just in case you have to be out and about. Here's 8 p.m. to show you those snow squalls that could potentially be in the area. It's not for everyone, but if you're under one of these, you will definitely see your visibility drop. 9 p.m. to show you that maybe still a little bit of some lingering light snow, and then that moves out of here. Thursday, here's 7 in the morning on Thursday to show you temperatures in the single digits and teens. Then in the afternoon tomorrow, we're in the 20s. Here's 4 p.m. Pay attention to our temperatures. 4 p.m. on Tuesday, O'Hare's at 21, Crystal Lake at 18. Thursday, 8 p.m., O'Hare drops to 10 degrees, Crystal Lake drops to 2 degrees. That is that Arctic blast arriving. So we do have an extreme cold watch in effect, and that's from 3 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Friday. So Thursday night into Friday around lunchtime. And the reason that we say dangerously cold is because we could potentially have wind chill values as low as 30 to 35 below. That's 5 to 15 minutes to frostbite for exposed skin, so you don't want to be outside on Friday if you don't have to be. Here is a look at our future wind chills to show you our wind chill values anywhere from about 30 to 35 below. In the afternoon, not much improvement. We're looking at our wind chill values 25 to 30 below. And then on Saturday, we're still talking below 0 wind chills, but at least a little bit of an improvement compared to where we will be on Friday. The next thing to talk about is the potential for snow. You probably have heard about this big snowstorm that's going to affect the south. Well, the very northern edge of that might make it into our area. Here is a look at Saturday, 6 p.m. It's still to the south, but then take a look. Sunday morning, if it goes further north, 50 miles will make a big difference with the track of the system. We will be keeping a close eye for accumulating snow. That's again Saturday night into Sunday.
That thing's tracking farther north now than it was just a day ago.
Exactly. So that will keep on wobbling. And so
Okay.
we have to keep a close eye on that.
Used to wobble away from us.
Wobble
I know,
away.
right? Keep wobbling away. Is that a meteorological
It should
term? A
be.
new
I
one,
use
right?
it a lot. Wobble, wobble.
There's a dance call that too.
Right, I'd like to see you do it. You get the latest forecast anytime with the free ABC7 Chicago News app. Just scan that QR code on your screen for a link to download.
Dancing snowflakes. Now to the astronauts whose space mission was cut short due to a medical emergency is sharing their story. The SpaceX 11 crew returning to Earth from the International Space Station last week. 3 astronauts and 1 cosmonaut leaving space nearly 6 weeks early. NASA and the astronauts still not disclosing what the medical issue was or which crew members it involves, out of concerns of the crew members' privacy. Well, the crew splashed down off the coast of San Diego last Thursday.
It was beautiful re-entry and splashdown. The dolphins came to visit us.
I actually enjoyed re-entry even more than launch. It was a lot of fun, and I'm very grateful that I got to experience that.
What an exciting mission. I mean, so cool. NASA says that the crew members are all doing just fine.
Yelp users vote 3 Chicago eateries as the best in the country.
Have you been there before?
No, you know I don't eat out much.
Okay, no. All right. Well, it looks delicious. It's the dinner hour. Plus, several local restaurants have been named semifinalists for the prestigious James Beard Awards. We are looking at what's hot on the city's dining scene. That story's coming up on the other side of the break. Well, Yelp is releasing its top 100 places to eat for 2026, and 3 Chicago restaurants made that list. In River North, CCO Mio landed on 65th place on the list. West Town's Un Amor came in at 96, and Trivoli Tavern in the West Loop rounded out at 98 or 96 there. The rankings are powered by the Yelp users.
That's a big one. If the Yelp users are getting you in, because they can be pretty hard there.
Oh, really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, in 98, you top on 100 in the country.
Get in there. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Pretty good.
3. And have you been to any of those?
No, I told you I need to go out more. I like to cook, but I don't.
He goes to the Wendy's, as in Wendy Elgus, that restaurant.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's his favorite restaurant. All right, well, more than 20 Chicago restaurants and chefs also being named semifinalists for the James Beard Awards, honoring the best restaurants in the country.
I know you're both foodies. Help me if I mess these up.
You got it, Rob.
Kasama is one of the semifinalists for outstanding, outstanding restaurants. It faces another Chicago restaurant in that category, El Ideas. Other semifinalists include Zachary Engel of Gallet. Sorry, Zach, for Outstanding Chef. Best New Restaurant nominees include Nadu and Nick and Juniors, and nominees will be announced March 31st and winners on June 15th. There's good food in this city.
Congratulations.
I know that.
Delicious food.
Yeah.
See you at 10 over on ABC7.